remember it was 2003, first day at university. I wake up late, rush to my brother, I look outside, it's raining in September. Wake up, we're gonna miss the first bus. We go downstairs to miss the 7:30 bus, arriving late to school. I remember it taking us 15 minutes until we found the class we had because nobody could communicate with us in English. We were lost. That whole day was a huge frustration. It was unpleasant. We felt totally lost. Classes had ended. We would come home, open the door in the evening to see there is no hot dinner on the table. The pajamas are just where I left them. My bed is just the way I left it. I only then realized what my dad had told me with tears in his eye before kissing us goodbye, you're on your own. And I realized it's not going to be easy. But see, that's how all the international students who choose this kind of journey experience at the beginning. We international students who pack our stuff, kiss our beloved ones, and decide to flee into a foreign country, not knowing anything about that country, not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, not knowing what we have chosen. We don't know anything about cooking, cleaning, or doing anything on our own. We're not even sure we did this right decision, or whether it's the right university, or the right profession, or why Hungary? Why is this the right place for me? All this was a huge frustration and confusion. But weeks passed by, and we got to know some upper classmates from 4th year, 5th year. We had so many questions for them. We asked, where should we shop? How should we study? Which seminars should we go to? Which lectures we can skip, right? And we had a lot of information from them. It was very helpful. One thing was very weird is that nobody mentioned that you should know any Hungarian. Hungarian language was something nobody even advised. Nobody even gave me some words that I should really know. Very soon enough, I realized that Hungarian language is not very important at all. I remember even going to a bar, like it was 3 weeks after I arrived to Debrecen. I'm telling my friend, can you please tell this girl, she doesn't speak any English, please tell her I don't want any lemon or ice in my drink. He goes like, sure man, no problem. Nam, okay? Nam. All right. I look at him, I'm like, I get my drink, it was without ice, still the lemon was there. So I look at him, you're 4th year, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, don't you speak any Hungarian? Hungarian? Are you kidding me? Nobody speaks Hungarian. And you see all my friends here, none of them speak Hungarian. Now, I don't even know one international student that speaks Hungarian. Days pass by, and I realize that this is the common belief among all international students. Nobody speaks Hungarian. You don't really need it. Second hardest language in the world. Come on, you came to study medicine. You're going to study the second hardest language in the world. It's not spoken anywhere else, so you're not going to use it after you graduate, right? Plus, you came here, you signed up for an English program. Why do you need Hungarian? You can speak English, you're good. I realized that, and for me, it was super sad. Super sad because growing up in a family where my dad obtained his medical degree in Italy, I grew up to listen to Italian. My dad would call his friends all the time in Italian. I even spoke some Italian when I was little because I felt that it was his second home. We had every year people visiting us from Italy. We had literally everything was made in Italy in our house. We would go shopping, my dad would flip the fork, he would see it's made in Italy, this is the fork we're gonna buy. Everything was made in Italy. I felt that he had a second home. We would visit Italy, his friends would be waiting for him in the airport. It was a pleasure. One of the reasons I chose to go and study abroad was because I had a dream of having another home. I had a dream of knowing another language that I can pick up the phone, talk in Hungarian. And when I very soon realized that this is not going to be the case, it was very sad. Fast forward 6 years, 2009-ben végeztem az orvosi Debreceni Egyetemen, Cum Laude-val. Sikerült felépítenem egy vállalkozás a VisitMe-nél, most ünnepel 10 évet, és a legfontosabb ez, hogy élveztem minden pillanatot Debrecenben, és otthon éreztem magam. What I just said is that in 2009 I graduated with Cum Laude, and I mastered the Hungarian language, and more important than all, I felt at home. So how did that happen? How did that 17-year-old kid, with, as far as I remember myself, 0 talents, turn this frustration and depression into an amazing journey, right? You're going to be questioning, like, how did that turn to an amazing journey? It all began when I realized that choosing such a journey is like entering a room full of boxes. It's boxes that you need and you might not need. It's full of skills, For example, I'll give you an example. There was this cooking box. You have to open because obviously your mom is not with you. You're gonna have to learn how to cook. You're gonna have to learn how to put some pepper, some salt, you know, you're asking your mom on the phone, I remember Skype, you know, you have to learn how to do it. There was the cleaning box. Obviously, you have to clean. You open that box, you learn how to wash, you learn how to vacuum clean, everything. There was that party box, it was shining. Who didn't open that? The first day, I remember, me and my brother, we jumped on that box, opened it, started going out, partying, drinking, everything. That was an amazing box. There was the study box, right? You open that box because obviously you have to study. That's why you signed up here. You open it, you learn how to sit down and study. You learn how to read the books. You have to learn how to study. Otherwise, you don't want to open that box. Keep it closed, go back home. But there was that small, ugly, very hard box, you know, there in the corner that nobody even opened. It was the language, the Hungarian language box. I didn't know anyone that even opened it. My friends were like, that box belongs there. That's the corner, you make it dust, rust. We don't open it. Nobody opened it, okay, you're not gonna be the first one. For me, I very early realized that I don't wanna do that. I wanna take that box and put it in the center of my boxes. I opened it just for the sole purpose of communication. I understood it's gonna be very hard, so I said, okay, I'm not gonna build another home. At least I want to communicate with the locals. I opened that box, and very surprisingly, very easily, I started picking up words in Hungarian. It was much, much easier than I thought. Why? Because it was all over me. Because you're in Hungary. So I started picking it up, and I started realizing that there is much, much more than language in that box. I picked up the glasses in that box, I put them on, and I realized the smiles on the locals. Hungarians were smiling. Those Hungarians that you thought that they don't want you here, they were talking to you. They were having beautiful conversations. I started seeing everything different. In that box, there were weapons. I would get myself out of trouble easily. I would explain myself if I would get into trouble. If I did not have my lights on, I would explain to the police, and easily. People were so happy when they heard me, te beszélsz magyarul? And it was amazing, you know? I saw that it makes people happy, it makes me happy, it makes my life easier. I started digging more and more in that box. Now imagine, for me as a Christian, once you arrive to Debrecen, they tell you, December, my friend, you're not going to have Christmas with your family, you're gonna have Christmas final exams. You know what that means? You're gonna be studying. I call my parents, I say, Dad, Mom, I'm so sorry, I'm not gonna make it to Christmas. 17 years, I'm celebrating every year with my family Christmas. This year, I'm gonna be celebrating final exams. Guess what? I opened that box, and in that box there was key to Hungarian family. I made a family here that hosted me every single year and gifts on Christmas. I was very happy, my parents were very happy, and you can imagine how my examination period went well. I stopped even thinking about anything except I started concentrating on studying Hungarian. I started picking up the language much faster. And I realized that I'm never depressed. I'm passing all my exams. And I'm happy. I realized that I'm super happy. So for me, it was a dream come true. I even started feeling at home. I didn't want to go home anymore. I would come 1 week before the semester begins, and I would leave 1 week after the examination period, talking about going home. It was very strange, and still very strange, that every single student, and you can relate to it, that it graduates from Debrecen, the next day packs his bags, leaves, and is knowing that he's never going to come back, right? So that was very strange for me, because I am telling you right now, you can leave from this country with way much more than your degree. Don't think that you came here to obtain a degree and you're going home and that's it. This country can offer you culture, can offer you language, can offer you family, can offer you your second home. When I understood that, it changed my life. Now, you might think, how the hell did I do it? How many times did I sit down to study? 0 times. How many books did I open in Hungarian? 0 books. So how did you do it, right? So it all started with me wanting to catch it. I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to do it. But before I give you these 4 tips, I'm going to tell you a story. Because currently, as I said, this is my second home. That's why you see me coming back here. I'm coming back here. I even signed up for an elective course in Budapest now, which I'm doing in my examination, in my residency in ophthalmology. I'm currently doing it in Budapest in Hungarian. And talking about me being an ophthalmologist, I remember 2 years ago, I was sitting in my examination room waiting for the next patient. I had read that it's a young patient with myasthenia gravis, it's a muscle problem, and she couldn't walk anymore. The nurse brings this patient with a wheelchair. The patient looked in her 20s, blondish. She looked depressed, devastated. She didn't want to even say hi. I approached her and I said, since in Israel, it's so many immigrants, Russian immigrants, so I started to pick up some Russian words. So I approached her, I said, Gavarite Baruski, which means, do you speak Russian? She looked at me, she had no idea what I was saying. I realized she's not Russian. So I said, what language do you speak? I came from an international school. I picked up one word in Norwegian, Swedish. You're blonde. Tell me what language do you speak? I'm going to tell you a word. I wanted to put a smile on her face. I wanted, just like Nelson Mandela said, speak to someone in a language he understands, you're speaking to his mind. Speak to someone in his language, you're speaking to his heart. I wanted to put a smile on her face. She looked at me and said, Magyarul. And the way she said it, she was sure I had no idea what Hungarian language is. I looked at her back and I said, Pont a jó orvoshoz érkeztél, which means you arrived to the right doctor. That moment changed everything. It deleted the sadness out of her face. We had an amazing conversation. It turned out she's been there for 2 days, not being able to communicate, which makes her more frustration, puts on top of everything, made her very depressed. I turned it into a beautiful smile. We had an amazing conversation. I took her to other departments. I helped translate. It saved her examinations. It saved her time. And most of all, we got the diagnosis much, much, much faster, and I made her much happier. Now, you can just imagine how rewarding that was for me. So, back to the tips. I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to do this very easily. And remember, 0 effort. I put 0 effort into where I am now, Hungarian-wise. So, the first one was I had the right mindset. I put that box and opened it. You have to open it. Once you open it and you have the right mindset, you will understand that it's all over you, right? Have the right mindset. This is 1. Number 2, listen and ask. Be curious. I'm going to give you an example. How many of you ride the Villamush? It's the tram. You know that tram? Right? Everyone, or at least did, until your dad got you a car. So, okay. So how many of you are familiar with the word, with the sentence that keeps repeating in the Villamush? Kérem vigyázzanak, az ajtók záródnak. Everybody, right? How many of you know what it means? Now you're laughing because nobody, right? Ah, man, next stop, last time I asked someone, the next stop is no. It means the doors are closing, please pay attention, right? Now I told you what it means. All you have to do is go on, continue riding the Villamush, and the Villamush will be repeating to you without paying him money. It's your free tutor without you paying him anything. So basically, you got free tutoring, right? So you opened your mind, you asked someone what it means, and now the Villamush is teaching you Hungarian. That's how it is when you live in a country where it's spoken. Open your mind, ask, be curious, and listen. Look at this, look at the apartment. It says Elado, Kiado. What does that mean? What does that mean? Be curious. The third part is related to some words you know. I was relating it to any word I know. So for example, the first time I went to the cinema, it said mozi. Mozi in Arabic is banana. So I started saying, let's go bananas, you know? Every time, let's go bananas. Do you think I will ever forget what mozi means? Mozi means cinema. Cinema means banana. So I'm going bananas. I think it's in Turkish the same, so you can relate words to anything you remember or anything you can recall. That's the third I can give you. The fourth, also an important one, and I used it and it helped me a lot. Write 1 word on your hand every day or every second day. You heard the word, you think it's important, until you find someone, your cafeteria who serves you coffee, your teacher, your professor, or whoever, ask him, write it on your word, write it on your hand, and you're going to know it and you're going to remember it. Now, I'm running out of time, but I'm going to leave you all with one story that I don't think I will ever forget. It's that 6th year when you want to finish, you're waiting for the day that your family is going to come and they're so proud of you. There's one last exam you have to do. It's the oral exam, right? It's that exam that everybody scares you from. It's when you enter the room and there are 6 professors, and those professors are looking at you. You've made it. Come, let's ask you some questions, right? And then we're going to pass you and give you the diploma. That's very stressful, right? On top of that, 2 more things were stressful. You could pick a department. I picked up one department that stereotypically it was the only department that fails people, you know? I picked up that department and people were like, oh my God, you have a higher chance of failing now. Third and most stressful one, coming from an Arab family, my friend, when your family comes to graduation, it means it's around 20, 30 people, you know? My dad was calling me, Habibi, your uncle from United States decided to come. Oh, Habibi, your cousins are coming as well. Your grandfather, your uncle, your aunt, everyone. It ends up 20 people are coming to your graduation. And it's 1 week before your exam, meaning they booked the tickets already. You're gonna fail? Ha! All right, fail, you fail. I see you, you fail. So it was very frustrating. I entered the room, the waiting room, and I remember there was a girl already crying. I'm like, oh my God, what did they ask you? Did they fail you? And she's like, no, I didn't fail yet. I'm like, then why are you crying? Oh, it's this department, you know? They fail you. But I tried to help myself remembering that box. I always used that box throughout those 6 years. So I opened the door and I asked them, Magyarul vagy angolul legyen a vizsga? It means, should you examine me in English or in Hungarian? And guess what? Those 6 tough head of departments started laughing. They were like, ha 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 ha, welcome Johnny, sit down. And you know, at that moment I felt they eliminated every single stress I had in me. It's not the reason that I passed. The reason that I passed is that while spitting the knowledge I knew, while spitting the knowledge I studied for 6 years, I didn't have the stress. They made me happy, they made me feel comfortable, and I gave them everything they taught me. And that was thanks to the Hungarian language. I took 5 at that exam, which is the final exam. They stood up and they congratulated me, and I felt that they are proud, not only because I got a 5, they're proud also because they felt that they were talking to a Hungarian. They felt that someone felt at home and someone is so confident that he even learned the Hungarian language. I want you to take home 2 messages. The first message is, it's way easier than you think. It's way easier than you think. It's all over you. Nothing is easier than studying a language in the country you're in. The second one is, you have to have the right mindset for it. And you'll understand that there's way much more than language in this box. It's not only a box of language. It's the box for your second home. So go home and open that box. Thank you very much.